my Uncle Neil talked about that concert that he would come to. I remember one of his comments that he would often make was, I thought the drums were a little loud. Just a real short memory too. I wasn't even actually going to share this, but I thought of it as I was listening. He and my dad mentioned about the little bit of the growl. I'm not sure if I quite remember the growl as a grandchild, but I do remember if we'd be working outside or something and something would break, something would go wrong. He oftentimes he wouldn't, seem to show any sort of emotion except for this one phrase, which he would say, that's a great note. And that would be all he would say. But as I thought this week about what I might say, I thought of, even though, and it is kind of hard to speak about Granddad without speaking about Grandma in the same sentence, but they were never wealthy, but always incredibly generous, especially when it came to Christian radio or the church or mission trips. Also thought about Granddad and the fact that he took great interest in what was going on in each one of our lives. And when I used to work in Jefferson and would occasionally come down for lunch, he always wanted to know what was the latest thing going on, or what trip had I been on lately and how that had gone. Always wanted to know exactly what was going on. But I guess the thing that I thought that kept going through my head throughout the whole week, I couldn't get away from the generational blessing and the fact that as a father, when you have children, you start to think of life in a different way. There's a certain richness and depth that comes to life with children. And you think about beyond your life, what their lives are going to be like. And I couldn't help but think of Granddad, and because of the choices he made, small, big, but on a daily basis, and the sum of those choices being a godly, blameless life, that has not only affected my life, obviously the life of his children, his grandchildren, but his great-grandchildren, including Lila, who's here today, who will physically never know him, but that she will be blessed because of the choices that he made. And I guess that's maybe the thing that hits me the most when I think about Granddad, that his life will affect the life of my children and even beyond.
When I was growing up, we used to take a 2-week vacation to Florida every summer. On the last day, traveling back home, I used to think about 2 things. One, I hope our house didn't burn down. It was one of those crazy childhood fears. And 2, I cannot wait to see Grandma and Granddad. Over the years, the childlike excitement about many things has waned. Birthdays, Christmas morning, but I still got excited to see Granddad every time I came home. And he was just as excited to see me. It was the everyday things about him that meant so much. The steady tempo at which he met the world. The permanence of his presence in my life. The smile on his face when I walked in the room up until the very end. The strength and conviction in his voice when he said a prayer or sang a hymn. The contemplation he put into playing his Scrabble word or his Racco card. His spot at the head of the table, never in the middle. The joy he got out of a ride through the country, especially if the destination was a root beer float at the White Turkey. The witty remark he would throw in just when you thought his hearing aid was off. The cup of tea we would enjoy together in the afternoon, and the cup of coffee with real cream after dinner. I didn't just love and respect him, I was quite fond of him. I knew he loved me unconditionally, and it was never more apparent than the time Granddad, Grandma, and Mary Jo came to visit me in Savannah shortly after I moved there. I was working at the theater, and Tipper Gore happened to be in town speaking in the square just outside of my building. I was a bit curious and convinced the three of them to wander into the square and check it out. Granddad was about 90 years old, and it was about 90 degrees out. I'm not sure which he found more unbearable that day, the heat or the politics, but he never said a word and went right along. When I started thinking about what to say today, I thought back to all of the speaking at Granddad's 90th birthday. I felt certain then that the next speech I would give would be at his 100th birthday. While he didn't quite make it that long, I feel beyond blessed for the very long time he has been in my life. I just wanted to end by saying that one of the reasons he was with us so long is because of Grandma and the way you've tirelessly taken care of him. I am grateful to you and to the others in my family who have been there on a daily basis. My father, James, and the rest of my family. I'm sure gonna miss him.